Okay. Do fans not have every right to boo if they're not happy with the way a player's performing for them?
Yeah, of course they do. But I'm not sure that some of the people that are booing Harry Maguire really understand why they're booing him, to be honest with you.
I certainly think it would be highly unlikely, put it that way, if Cristiano Ronaldo plays another game for Manchester United. Just know I'm doing everything in my power to try and persuade him to come to Arsenal.
Right, it's time now to take a closer look at the pre-season friendly that took place earlier today between the mighty Manchester United and Crystal Palace with sportsbreaks.com. United beat Palace by 3-1. I suppose the big headline, it's sad that I'm not talking about the United goal scorers, which were Sancho, Martial and Rashford. But the majority of the headlines seem to be that the United fans supposedly were booing Harry Maguire every time he touched the ball. Are you aware of this? Is this news to you?
Well, I've been at Wembley when there was, suggestion that was the case as well. I'm quite astounded. I personally think that, I capped him as an under-21 player, so I know him not particularly well as a youngster, but I know him and I know he's a good kid, and when I've been on the road with talkSPORT covering England games and his family are there and they're staunch supporters of him and England, and I find it quite sad, really. I think what's happened is a very, very small minority have started this. The media have picked up on it, and all of a sudden it just seems to have grown legs a little bit. I find it quite sad, really.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Okay, do fans not have every right to boo if they're not happy with the way a player's performing for them?
Yeah, of course they do. But I'm not sure that some of the people that are booing Harry Maguire really understand why they're booing him, to be honest with you. I think a little bit of it is it's happened. Everyone boos Harry Maguire, so I'm going to join in as well. It's that type of situation.
United have brought in another centre-half who can play just in front of Martinez. That obviously puts pressure on Maguire, right? I mean, they've got him, they've got Varane as well. Bailly has played some decent football in pre-season as well. Because he's captain, Harry Maguire, does that make, in your mind, any difference as to whether or not he can be dropped as easily as a player that's not captain or not?
I think he was captain under a different manager. I think when a new manager comes in, that's irrelevant. When the season started, I fully expect to see probably Martinez and Maguire playing alongside each other.
Okay. And just a quick word about United pre-season under Ten Hag. Have you seen anything that makes you think, okay, yeah, they're buying into this fella?
I haven't seen any of their games at all, if I'm being honest. They're down under at the moment, aren't they? So a long way from home. But
Can you read anything into pre-season?
I don't think so. I was at Reading versus West Ham at the weekend, and it wasn't a great game, to be fair. Reading done quite well in the game, considering they're a league below West Ham. And as I was leaving, I bumped into Mervyn Day, and Mervyn said to me, I've seen 5 friendlies this pre-season, not one of them have been any good. That was his statement to me, who's seen a lot of matches.
Yeah, so it's just about getting fitness levels back, right?
Certainly it is for the Premier League boys,
okay. But
I think.
For Manchester United, that of course you could argue they don't have a lot of belief, or they didn't towards the end of last season. If they keep getting wins under their belt, relevant of who they're playing, that can only be a good thing mentally.
Definitely.
Or as a footballer, do you think this pre-season, it doesn't matter?
No, I think where they are as a club at the moment and how they finished the season, with a new manager coming in, all those things thrown in the mix, I think it's really important that they get victories. I think they're in a slightly different position to impress the manager individually anyway.
Okay. That was our review of this afternoon's pre-season friendly between Manchester United and Crystal Palace in partnership with sportsbreaks.com. If you'd like to watch Man United play next season, visit sportsbreaks.com. Official ticket and hotel breaks price from just £139 per person.
Premier League pre-season review on talkSPORT with sportsbreaks.com. Unmissable official football ticket and hotel breaks. Visit sportsbreaks.com.
Now, Piers Morgan's new show Uncensored is back tonight and every weekday from 8 p.m. on Talk TV. Let's find out more about it as we can speak to the man himself and say good afternoon to Piers Morgan. Hello, Piers. How are you?
Hey guys, how are you?
Afternoon.
Very well. Now, first things first, Piers. Right, when we spoke last week on the show, you were talking about your relationship with Cristiano Ronaldo, and we were talking about his future, and you said you'd had a few texts from him. I just wondered, have you got a text update? Is there any more news on Cristiano Ronaldo's future at Manchester United via the gift of text?
I have had quite a lot of contact with him in the last week. I certainly think that it would be highly unlikely, put it that way, if Cristiano Ronaldo plays another game for Manchester United.
Hold on, say that again. You think it will be unlikely that he does play?
Highly unlikely that he stays at Manchester United. That's all I would say. I think he's just mentally. I think he's moved on.
And you've got that off a text he sent you. You've come to that conclusion off something he said to you.
Ask me each week. You ask me to break my confidence. Each
Yes.
week I tell you I'm not going to do it.
Yes.
And I admire the skillful journalistic enterprise. So I'm not going to say what we said to each other. But I just feel like I said to you from the start of this process, I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo feels that Manchester United share his ambition. That's what I feel. I think he feels that the signings they're making, the commitment they showed last season, where they finished up, the lack of Champions League football. If you're him and you're heading towards the end of your career and you still want to win major trophies, you've got to make one calculation. Am I going to do it if I stay at United? And I just don't think he feels the club structure from the top down is right. It's not a reflection on the new manager, who I think he has a lot of respect for. I just think it's an accurate reflection of where United are right now.
Okay, so just a yes or no, then we'll move on. Your understanding from conversations you've had with him over the last week, you think he'll leave Manchester United?
It's for him to say what he feels. If you're asking me what I feel, I do not think he's going to stay at Manchester United.
Okay, so you think he's going to leave?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And I think he might end up somewhere quite surprising.
What, in this country?
I'm going to leave it as surprising and hang you there for another week.
Okay, hold on. Just cough if it's in this country.
No,
Wow.
No,
Yeah?
No.
Yeah?
No, that was my hay fever. Sorry.
You cough when you got hay fever. Most people sneeze. That's weird.
No, as you know, I would love him to come to Arsenal, so I'm doing everything in my power. Arsenal fans listening should just know I'm doing everything in my power to try and persuade him to come to Arsenal. And bear in mind, he was supposed to come to Arsenal as an 18-year-old. He was about to sign with Wenger, and at the last minute, he blitzed United in a game for Sporting Lisbon, a friendly, and Ferguson didn't leave that game until he'd signed him. So I believe he would be coming home.
So are you honestly telling me on national radio you think Ronaldo's going to leave United before the season starts and join Arsenal?
No, I'm telling you, I think he's going to leave United, and I think all that we've seen happen in the last 2 weeks indicates that anyway. But I am trying everything in my power to persuade him to come to Arsenal, because actually, although people may laugh, I actually think him and Gabriel Jesus up front with Eddie Nketiah would be a fantastic forward line for us. So why not? I mean, why not Arsenal?
I mean, how long have you got? What time does your show start? 8 p.m, I mean. Of course, Stu.
What are your thoughts on what he's brought in so far, new signings this summer? I mean, he's obviously going back to a pool of players and people he knows at City and bringing one or two in.
Yeah, I think the both Jesus and the Ukrainian player are both very good players. I think they're very good signings. But what I've seen in the pre-season games, Jesus is really sharp and looks like he's got a point to prove. Obviously wants to play number 9, which he didn't do much at City. And it reminds me a bit of when Thierry Henry came. You know, he came as a winger. He wasn't that successful for us as a winger. And when he went inside, suddenly he became the best centre forward in the world. So I think that I've got a lot of expectation about him. But here's the reality. You know, I look at City. Any team that can give away Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus, how good is that team? And the reason they've done that is they've signed Erling Haaland, who is the best centre forward in the world, and one of the best already that's probably ever played the game. And they're adding that to a championship-winning team. So I just feel like everyone's going to be playing catch-up. Liverpool will push them as close as they can. But the idea that Arsenal are going to be anywhere near Manchester City, it doesn't matter how many of their cast-offs we take, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they are being let go by Pep Guardiola for a reason. I just think we're not going to be at that level, and we're going to really struggle to get top 4. And I've just seen the trailer for the All or Nothing Amazon special on Arsenal that's coming, which is going to be an absolute train wreck. But what was really interesting from looking at the 2-minute trailer is you can see that in his head, Arteta thinks he's Guardiola. He's even behaving like Pep did in their Man City All or Nothing. But he's never won anything as a manager. He hasn't got anything like the pedigree of Pep. And I think we've got Pep Light, who thinks he can behave like his old boss. And I'm just not convinced by Arteta. I know some Arsenal fans are, but, you know, he's been there 2.5 years. What have we done? What have we achieved? Nothing.
Okay, well that's why I won't be joining Arsenal. Just quickly, what have you got coming up on your show tonight? 8 o'clock on Talk TV. What's coming up, Piers?
Well, we're going to have a lot of the weather, obviously, which has been ferocious today. But we're also going to have an exclusive interview with Priscilla Presley on the back of the new Elvis movie, which is, if you haven't seen it, absolutely brilliant.
Piers, do you know what? In the last break, Stuart just said, "Have you seen it?" I said, "No." He said, "It's wonderful."
Yeah, well, it is brilliant, and I think that Elvis, one of the all-time great performers, obviously. She was married to him for 6 years, I think, and I've not really heard her verdict on it, what she thinks of the young actor. Many of the critics saying they think he really encapsulates Elvis. Well, tonight, I'll ask the woman who was married to him for 6 years, does it encapsulate Elvis? And I'll also ask her, given she lives in LA, how do we deal with this extreme heat, which is going to last at least another few hours?
Yeah, I'll certainly not be buying that air conditioning unit for the house. Piers, always a pleasure, and I look forward to another Ronaldo update next week on the show.
Just take it to the bank. He will not be at United.
Wow, okay. All right, you've really got a way of spoiling my afternoon, haven't you? Thanks for coming on. Have a good show. Thanks, pal.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. There you go, the wonderful Piers Morgan. His new show, Uncensored, is back tonight, and every weekday from 8 p.m. he'll give you his unmissable verdict on the day's global events with an hour of fearless debate. And much like talkSPORT Drive, he'll be joined by some of the biggest guests you can find. That's Piers Morgan Uncensored tonight at 8 p.m. on Talk TV.